Well, so yeah, it's going to be streaming on twitch.tv/Gobo Podcast, and then we'll have a VOD of it, and then that'll make it to YouTube. And then on Wednesday, we'll release the audio only as a normal episode.
I'll just pre-ask my question here.
Okay, yeah.
Why not Twitch stream the podcast episodes with your guys' face cams?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, straight up, why not?
Yeah. No.
I think that'd be a sick thing to do.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, because it would give more of a purpose for the Twitch channel.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I mean, it would keep it more active.
People have definitely asked many times before.
Yeah.
People have definitely asked before.
It'd be a cool behind the scenes thing.
It's kind of it's scary. It's a little scary.
It's scary because sometimes, like, I get mad.
Yeah.
But that was, I don't know, it was really fun to interact with this one.
Yeah.
Because the facial reactions parts of topics and stuff too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's gonna say something like that.
Yeah.
Be more interactive. That
Well,
way.
we've started recording with the video. I mean, even though we don't release the video, we can see each other, and yeah, it makes a huge difference in how we record. Yeah, how the conversation goes. But I hear your question. You're not the first person to ask. I will say that.
I figured as much, but at the same time too, especially with interacting whenever you guys started the face cam things.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, that's too good.
Yeah. Well, the show's evolved a lot too. Even just in the last 11 episodes since episode 100, we kind of pivoted a little bit, and we're still changing a lot. So
I still think it's really I like the fact that you guys are trying to shorten down the episodes.
Yes. Yeah. They were getting
That's
real.
probably I was gonna say. There's definitely
Yeah.
times where you guys got way too deep in the
Yeah.
topic and
Yeah.
it would just stop for a minute.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me get in the middle chair. I gotta
Yep. I was about to say I'll leave you guys to it. I'm gonna go get some food.
Yeah, have a good one.
I didn't mean to.
Ow.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Are you dying?
Good to see you.
No, I'm good.
Does everybody have enough room?
Sure.
Everybody's good.
You should be fine.
All right, here we go. I need just to cover my eyes for when I do something stupid.
You're gonna do something naughty.
Uh-oh. I really wish I could get that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Tim could.
He's got his own.
Oh, okay.
Tilt it down to the table a bit more too. Pro commentator.
Pro
So
commentator?
commentator.
Am I going to hear y'all in my ears?
You should be able to, yeah.
Wow, it's so fancy.
You'll probably also hear
Yeah,
yourself.
I guess that's normally how it works.
Yeah,
It's like
you'll
you're
probably
in my
also
ears.
hear yourself, which I always find a little bit weird.
I
But
know it makes me talk a lot.
yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
it helps. Yeah, I agree. You know what? One thing, Jesus. One thing I've written on the big to-do list for afterwards, I think I talked to Tip about it this morning, is I want, in the future, I want mute buttons or foot pedals or whatever for the commentators themselves. Because if you're commentating and you need to take a drink or a cough or whatever, there's no way to do anything. You have to awkwardly cover the mic and bump into it a bunch of times and shit. It's like,
This mic's hot.
okay.
It's just for ambient room noises. I was about to say turn it this way. Yeah, exactly.
What is this for?
It's basically a prop at this point. I didn't know if we were going to need it or not. I thought it might be our.
It kind of looks like our logo or our old logo.
Yeah, we still have that.
Yeah, true.
Oh, it's because of that.
Yeah, it's really
Yes.
I was like, what is happening?
No, it's because of that.
What's going to happen is all three of these are going to get squeal.
Yep, 100%.
Alright, I should put in the chat.
Oh, yeah, you want to have the chat? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Focus on it too.
It's probably not a bad idea to just have it up and look at it every now and again.
We can just watch the stream and we're showing the chat.
You can just send it to chat. That's what I usually do.
Just put chat in the corner and go from there.
12:30. What do you guys want to do?
We can just fire it off if you guys want. I'll put my headset
Because
on.
we've been live for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, people have trickled in. We got comments.
We need an audio test.
Perfect.
Hello and welcome. My name is Tim.
I'm Dante.
And I'm Herfy Durfee.
And this is Go Mode, a Link to the Past randomizer podcast live. Holy crap. Are you guys nervous at all?
This feels weird.
Not really.
You're not nervous?
I'm not nervous. I just I didn't know what to expect with this. This
Yeah.
is a little more awkward than doing comms with the camera. I can at least see myself
Absolutely.
doing comms.
Right. Well, I kind of prefer not to be able to see myself because then, as we've said before on our show, I end up just like staring at my own video the whole time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that,
Insanely
though.
distracting.
I love to see myself right now, to be honest, but I'm fine with
I mean, as someone who's
I love
looking
seeing
at
Herf,
you,
too.
I have to say it's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for coming out to the first ever, well, I guess I have to say the second live recording of an episode of Go Mode
My
Podcast.
first recording
I mean,
live.
Dante's
Yeah,
first.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess
we did
it's the second one.
We did do something like this back in 2019 for that SpeedGaming. It was on Monday afternoon after pretty much everyone had left already. We found a alcove in the back of some room somewhere that was kind of small and all gathered around one microphone and talked into it. That was myself, Herf, and our former co-host Axial, who lives in the DC area. And COVID, so, you know, that happened.
Yeah.
And here we are now again in 2022 and doing it in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, and
which
we
is
got
absolutely
a pretty active Twitch chat going on. Apparently, my glasses are helping people see the audience
Oh,
too.
perfect.
So
That-
the
It all
perfect
works out
reflection.
perfectly.
yeah, say hi, everybody.
That's how
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so a huge thank. We'll do proper thank yous at the end, but just right off the bat, a huge thank you to SpeedGaming Live admins and staff for allowing us this opportunity, the equipment, the room, the space to be able to do this. We
Yes, I agree. Thank you to myself. I did a great job.
Yeah, staff with 3 A's.
Oh yeah, you're staff
Yeah,
too. I
I'm
forgot about that.
staff.
You're even better than staff
Okay,
because you
so-
got the extra
Yeah.
A's in there.
Yeah, so I'm thanking the SGL admin staff. These two have identified that they are SGL admins. They didn't really help very much with this.
I didn't do
just
anything.
To be clear.
I was playing NMG. I literally was
Close-
sitting over there.
Close enough. I was having a smoke outside, so I feel like I contributed the most of all the people here.
Good job, Tim,
yeah,
and,
so
and
they-
everyone
yeah.
else. We're going to list her like a big long
Yeah,
list of names.
we're gonna get to
Exactly.
the actual things of all the
Exactly.
people at the end.
Yep, cool. Okay, so how this is going to work is for the first portion of the show here, the first 30 minutes or so, we're just going to talk a little bit about the event, some of our experiences so far. We've got a short list of things to hit on here. And then for the last 30 minutes or so, we've got a fourth microphone up here. And we've also got a Twitch chat on twitch.tv/GoModePodcast. So we'll pass around the microphone. We'll check out Twitch chat. We'll take a few questions. And after about an hour, we will be all wrapped up.
I can't wait for this to go off the rails.
Yeah, it's gonna be
so
great.
fast.
It's gonna be wonderful.
It will probably,
as it's supposed to.
yeah, it'll.
If
that's-
the stream suddenly cuts, it's not the internet. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, someone said nope. That's enough for that.
It's all happening live, and you know what? That's just a part of it. That's part of the fun of the live show.
Thank God this ain't on Speed Gaming's channel. We'll get fired.
So let's go ahead and start off with the main tournament, the main Link to the Past randomizer in-person tournament.
I like that you called it the main tournament.
Oh yeah, I guess
It really, yeah.
Just
like,
because I'm partial.
of our our podcast,
Our
yeah,
community.
Link to the
we're
Past
slightly
randomizer.
biased, obviously, but
Exactly.
It's
So
all
the
right.
main, to us, it is the main one. So the Link to the Past randomizer tournament so far, This could even be changing as we speak. I think there's maybe a match going on, or one.
I think one of the semifinal matches is still going on. I don't want to spoil anything. That's why I'm not going to say anything. But I have a pretty good idea how that's going to end and who's going to be in at least one part of the finals. And the second match of the semifinals, Relkin versus who's he playing?
Maniacal.
Relkin versus
Maniacal, right? You're correct. They're going to be playing at 2 p.m. local time, so in about 1.5 hours ish. So we should be knowing the final 2 people who are going to be in the Link to the Past randomizer finals here at about 4 maybe. I'd say, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I'd assume they'd schedule their match relatively soon after. It's going to depend also on the availability of the restream channels, because obviously we want to restream the final, so they might have to wait for a bit. That's where we're at with the Link to the Past main tournament at the moment.
So did we say all top 4? I heard Relkin versus Maniacal. We also had
Relkin versus Maniacal, and Azazas versus Illus, which is currently ongoing and almost over, I'd say.
Right.
It's already done?
Yeah, I saw Rick in here. I assume that in Fury.
Oh,
in
true.
chat
Yeah, Rick was commentating
confirming that
he
it is
probably
over.
wouldn't have run away from the commentary for that.
Who won? Do we have someone who knows?
Illus
won.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, so Illus in grand finals and waiting Relkin and Maniacal.
Yep.
I did see that Maniacal is up and awake and actually here, but after the late night race that I don't know why I stayed up that late, but it was totally worth it.
So that is absolutely on my list, Dancy. So I was wondering if this seems like the perfect time to talk about that.
Perfect.
Race.
All right, so what do you want me to talk? Well, we talked about a lot at some things that I just was not expecting to come out of my co-commentator's mouth. But then again, it's like a loose cannon; you never know. It was a good time. I accurately predicted that Maniacal would skip Skullwoods 5 times in that portal, get it on the 5th time, and he did, and ended up winning. So it was really exciting just kind of watching the 2 of them go back and forth, because they both had outs either way, and it wasn't one of those like super one-sided races. And those are the most fun to commentate, where it's just like you don't really know until the very end what's going to happen. The GT routing can kind of come down to it, and that's where we were.
Yeah. Yep. This race started at midnight.
Yeah, it was technically today.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
I'm really happy that I was able to make it here today for this, because there was like a mix of a couple drinks and then a beer and then some more drinks and then more beer, and then it was like, all right, now we're going to commentate. So luckily I didn't do anything weird, like, no one like rattled me to make me make any gestures towards the camera. Drosy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Well, we'll put a link to that in the description of this episode for those who are listening to this in the podcast version. So yeah, by the way, the audio from this conversation here is going to be ripped and then come out as a normal podcast episode. So the video is
really?
Nice.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that yet or not, but that's what we're doing. So yeah, video obviously is fun to have here, but we are making a podcast episode also as part of this. So one of the things I wanted to get into is, I guess, the reason that had to be so late because there has been so much crossover in participation of ALTTPR tournament and also the SMZ3R.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of crossover, definitely, with the players that are participating in both. Sometimes even in more than those 2. They might even be participating or have been participating in the Super Metroid randomizer tournament, since, if you're playing SMZ3, you're obviously playing A Link to the Past, and you're also playing Super Metroid. So why not, check out those other tournaments that are purely for those games as well. Yeah. So there was a lot of overlap with players, which for the most part is fine. We've had some issues with scheduling, which we definitely, I'm sure we're going to have a post-mortem staff meeting or some sort of thing to address a lot of things. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of player overlap, especially in those 3 games, I'd say. This
is like not uncommon with me, like going to like dance game events, and there's multiple games going on. Then you have bleed over. The good thing for that is it's a 1.5, 2 minute songs, not hour and a half, 2.5 hour seeds, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and SG staff doesn't want to stay up. We don't have to do the 24-hour thing this year like we did in 2019. So that's always nice. People can sleep.
Yes,
for a change.
Sinek nodding
heavily
vigorously
from the audience.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, it's just, you only have so many days of the event, and the seeds take as long as they take, and it's like, if you want to do both of them, I think you should be able to, and people are doing it, but it's just going to be hard,
Yeah.
It's rough. You have to get the group stages done in 2 days, and then you have to get the bracket stages done in 2 days. And, that's fine for one tournament where a seed takes an hour and a half, 2 hours. But if you have a second tournament, it's already going to be a lot of games that you need to be playing. And if you add even a third tournament, it's just going to be non-stop playing. You're not going to have much time for anything else, basically.
Yeah, and of course there is plenty of incentive to play in these tournaments, right? What are the prize totals?
Some dollars.
Some dollars.
Some dollars. Yeah, I'm not
dollars.
100% sure. I think the last time we looked, we were at about $1,000 plus 500 bonus for A Link to the Past. I know both Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker shot up pretty significantly over the last 2 or so days. They've gotten a bunch of pretty big contributions.
That's great.
Since we're in the modern days of the internet, I'll
We've
just
got phones,
be
we can
rude
find this
here and
out.
grab my phone
Yeah.
and tell you in 1 minute while you guys
idea.
make more conversation.
Yes. So Dante, how you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling much better on a Sunday than I thought I would. I've been here since Tuesday. I drove up to help. I set up a little bit at day one, or day -1, and then day 0 it was setting up the 3-stream room. Which shout outs to Sir Link a lot for basically being attached to me at the hip, so to speak, that whole day, just because I was trying to delegate some workout and I couldn't even process in my brain the order things needed to be done in. So we were just like, all right, let's just do this, do that, plug that in here, hope for the best. But yeah, I'm doing okay.
I think y'all did a great job. 2019, it's not like there were a ton of problems, but it was definitely the first time attempting something like this. There was 30 CRTs, TVs that sitting in a room that never got used. So I could tell that a lot was learned from that event to this one, and the setup has been
the biggest
really well done.
The biggest difference this year has been, instead of having one stream room and one recording room to air later, we've got 5 stream setups now. Some of them aren't as razzle dazzle as the main 2, but they work. And players have been grateful for the restreams and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but 4 of my races were restreamed. I don't know, they probably shouldn't have been. But I was very thankful to have that opportunity.
Yeah, the streams from watching some of the streams from the hotel room when you just want to refresh in between events they've been great.
It's
awesome.
It's been
maybe
working
a little bit of
wonderfully.
sound bleed, but it's so minimal.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sound bleed that you can't really avoid, but I think it's been great, and we've both learned things from 2019, and we've also just had more. I don't know if you want to call it luck or a better organization from the hotel side. This time we didn't have 7 hours without internet or something like that.
Yeah.
It just, we got here and it worked. We could set everything up. We've had a small little outlet problem that is probably the hotel's fault, I would say. But let's not get into any details about that. Small technical issues that we had nothing to do with. And let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we're in a not completely different, but we're in a different section of the hotel altogether than we were last time.
Yeah, we were supposed to get the same rooms that we got in 2019, but the event that was in there before us needed it for a day longer, so they kind of moved us over here. And I personally have to say, I like the setup a lot better than the old one.
Something tells me that this might cost a lot more.
Maybe.
So I'm not getting my hopes up we get these again, but maybe, who knows?
We'll have to see how it works in the future events, but this was definitely a super nice setup. Everything was really kind of together. You didn't have the one room that was all the way on the other side. We do have that room
It's
available.
just storage this time.
We're just
it's
using
great.
it for storage. We're not, shoving people over there and having to do walkie-talkie communication between the admins to time everything.
That was so fun.
It was fun, but it was kind of crazy. But everything's great this year, and it was a ton of fun so far. And I think it's going to be a ton of fun for the last couple of hours that we have left here with all the finals and stuff going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So do you have an update for us on the
yes, of course I do.
amounts?
So first of all, if you guys would like to look at this yourself, feel free to go to sglive.speedgaming.org. It has all the tournaments listed for both the on-site and the online event that already happened in September. So I'm not going to list everything that we have here, but I'm going to list the top 3 that I can see right now. They all will get $500 bonus. The first one is Ocarina of Time Randomizer. They're currently at $1,824 plus $500 bonus from provided by Fiesel, or rather SpeedGaming. Then we've got the Zelda 1 randomizer, which is at $1,038, also with a $500 bonus. And we, with the ALTTPR randomizer, we're currently at $1,095 plus the $500 bonus.
Yeah.
We did already, Cynic and I, we announced the money split yesterday as far as who's getting what from the top 16. And obviously, the more donation that come in, the more we can provide to everyone. The monetary values will change depending on how much money we've got.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that you can still donate. Is that correct?
I think you're still able to donate. Yes.
Getting some confirmation.
The only thing that's not changing anymore is which are the featured tournaments. So who gets the $100 or the $500 bonus?
Sure.
But you can still donate to
So
the total
if
until it's all
you're
over.
looking at the last 3 that are left, and you're like, you know what, I like those people better than the rest of them. Now I'll donate. Now's your time. So you could totally do that.
That is absolutely possible.
If you donated before, it's like there's so many different people who could get this money, but now you know for a fact it's going to be one of 4 people.
One of those 4, or one of those
3
rather.
3 even.
Yeah, there's no bronze match. That's going to kind of just be a tied for 3rd thing, I
Right.
think, is the way we've set that up. So, yeah, the me getting into top 16, as great as that was, I was kind of like, man, now I don't have as much time to do commentary. Like that,
True.
That's like, I don't know. That's almost as fun as playing, maybe a little more because there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Except just don't look stupid on camera, which I'm doing now anyway. So.
Yeah, we're kind of used to that in a way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I have been hesitant to even volunteer to just because I think it would be a lot of fun, but there are so many people here who know so much more about this game than I do. Like
You know how to do light world checks though, right? Like. And how to route them efficiently?
I'm actually not allowed to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to say if
right.
I know anything about light world checks, part 1 or 2.
Okay.
But no, just the gall that I would have to get up and try to explain or educate anything in this game to some of the people who are in these audiences. I'm like, maybe I'll just watch.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can kind of see that. At the same time, I just talk about what's happening on the screen, right? So,
for sure.
Yeah, I feel you. So there was one other race that I wanted to talk about a little bit specifically, and kind of talk about some of the ways that it was an in-person race. Maybe affected the outcome, and that was Dante your race versus Matt 7898. That was that was on Friday. So I had the pleasure of sitting maybe like 1 row back, from you and Matt while you were racing that, and I just had an absolute blast because first of all, watching you and your facial expressions was great.
It's so nerve-wracking being on camera and not being able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is like in the online variants of this tournament, like that is literally the most stressful part. So like if I can just kind of make some faces at the camera or something, that is literally the only way to kind of calm myself down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus my squirrel brain, anytime someone moves, I'm like looking at them like, oh, what's going on over there?
Right. So and that was another thing that I wanted to mention is that the way that the stages were set up, which you set up, right?
I did not set up those main rooms.
But
I did not set the main rooms up.
So it was sort of like one of the stations was angled so you could sort of see a little bit more of the audience than the other one, which, if you were sitting there, you kind of had your back turned to the audience. Mm-hmm. Would you say there was an advantage to sitting in either one of those spots? Or
it just depends on like how much, I guess, self-control you have, or as far as or focus. Just because for me, like I said, the squirrel brain, anytime I was being able to see the crowd, there was any movement, it's like you can't really get any info out of that. But, if 5 people stand up and walk out, you're like, well, I'm pretty much dead. Mm-hmm. You at least could think that. But the race you were talking about with me and Matt, there was just a whole apparently we both did the same terrible play of doing Aga and leaving Mitts and Eastern, but I knew when I kind of made a face pulling out the mitts, and then I heard massive laughter. I knew, I'm last to those. So I thought he got him before Aga. So I just assumed the dot done's rolling in the next 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah. I've talked to a few people who have raced on the stage, and all of them have said, any little bit of information you can get from the audience, from a commentator, which, by the way, you can still kind of hear over your white noise, right?
It depends on. It really just depends on the excitement level, how loud they are. Mm-hmm. I've had the discussion of the frequency of voices. The only person who really was piercing through the mic at all, and it just kind of sounded like I forgot who said this exactly. Kind of like the old Charlie Brown, like wah 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 wah. You just kind of get something like that. It's unintelligible, like what the words are.
Yeah.
But like I could hear Clearmouse get excited about something, and I'm just walking on the screen, and I'm like, well, if I'm walking, that's not that exciting. So something's happening over there, but I just don't know what.
Yeah.
The highlight of that match, though, was me killing Armos and just kind of bending over and started, like, hovering on my controller.
That was so good.
And at that time, Matt was crossing Moldorm 2 Gap, and he, like, freaked out because he's like, he is right on my tail. So we were talking about that afterwards, so...
That was 100% intentional by you.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it was like, it was a
That's so
metagame play of, like, I'm just going to pretend I'm hovering right now just in case.
Just psych someone out.
Yeah, you know, and I was worried about being that guy in some other races because I saw, like, as I was hovering, someone's laptop tracker, like, the screen was shaking, but they never noticed it.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, like, depending on someone's height, like, their eyes are completely above the screen. And it's
Right.
like, all right, well, I don't want to keep looking at their eyes, but, you know, if they start making, you know, big eyes, I'm going to know something's going on.
Yeah.
You know, we've had the head shakes and the nods going on.
It's definitely a very different situation playing like here in a real life setting like this. It's pretty much. I was talking about this earlier. I forgot with who I was talking about this, but it's different for everything, right? It's obviously very different for the players because, as you said, it depends where are you sitting. Can you see the audience? Do you easily get distracted by that? That's a big thing. The whole setup process is different because at home, right, you get ready to play your seed. You know what you're getting into, and you know what's happening. Then for the commentators, it's different because you can actually look at the person that you're talking about the game with.
You don't talk over each other as much.
Right.
Isn't it great?
It's so good. You know,
Yeah.
you can see, oh, look, this is happening. Like,
Wow.
just kind of like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And also as a commentator, you have people around you watching the game with you, right? It's kind of like... It's like sitting in Twitch chat just in real life. You get the feedback immediately. People laugh at something stupid happening, or people go like, "Oh my God, you know, it's there," or whatever. It's just a whole different experience for really everyone involved, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun, or that's at least part of the fun of the whole thing.
Yeah, and there's been a few races where a couple of players, or you know, even though they have the headphones on, they were very even audible with their reactions,
out
getting
to
some good
Files.
audience reaction out of that too. So it's a whole new experience,
Yeah.
and I think it's a really fun way to play rando.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure, like even though it's like not pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt was being very vocal, talking to himself during the race, and it was hilarious. It felt very much like someone who was just, playing a seed by themselves, at their computer with no webcam or mic or anything like that at all.
Yeah.
And I really loved hearing, you would see something be like, sword on floating island, sword on floating island. Just like chanting that over and over. And I was like, yes, that is what you do. That is how you play rando,
Yeah.
when you're by yourself. Yeah. Now, there was a moment when I was watching that race where you found the flute, and I involuntarily, like the Brendan Fraser meme, like clapped my hands, like.
And I
you
saw
told me
that.
you told me later, you were like, by the way, Tim, thanks for letting me know I was the first one to find the flute. So
That's that involuntary thing that just happens sometimes, and it's like you hear it. So like I was like, okay, I probably got flute first. That's probably my only, like I metagame myself. That's my only out now. And then I started playing just the flute checks, and I was like, okay, well I'm wasting time. There's nothing here. So
Yeah.
more and more I was like, this is over.
Yeah, but like I, as an audience member, I don't want to help you cheat. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really know how to feel about that. So I guess my question is, we provide the headphones with the white noise. We face you so that you're mostly away from the audience. Is the goal to zero out everything that you could possibly read other than
It's
the
just
game?
to negate
or-
as much as possible, but there's obvious, like we've been talking about the different like small things. You're not going to be able, unless you're on opposite sides. I think the tournament room is probably the only place where you're not going to be able to figure anything out, even unintentionally, just because the way they've had people sitting, they're probably 20 feet plus apart, and then big TVs. Like we've got these nice 32-inch TVs that we've been playing on the tourney rooms provided by MagFest. Shout outs to them. Like you can't. I lost where my opponent was the one race I played in there. I was like, I don't know where he is. So
Yeah.
you don't learn anything that way.
Yeah. But again, it's just to finish the thought from before, it's all of that information that you get, I don't see how you could ever possibly ignore it. It becomes a part of
You
playing
can,
live.
you can, but
Yeah.
it can both be positive and negative because the example that you brought up, Dante was like, all right, I knew that I was at the flute, as the first guy,
Yeah.
so that might help you in some way or be like a positive thing for you because you found the flute first, but you might also just psych yourself out because
And
something
that's
else, right?
100%
And
that,
you
'cause-
do get additional information that you're maybe not supposed to get, but I don't think you ever really get any information that really gets you anywhere, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be like, hey, the bow's over there. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then you walk straight over there and grab it. That's not going to happen. But
hope
you're going to
not.
notice if your opponent finds something
Yeah.
or if something stupid happens. And sometimes someone was talking about this, especially with the little stage setups that we have in all the restream rooms. You just notice the vibrations of something happen. Right? The people clapping in the audience or someone or like a groan going through the audience or whatever. It just like vibrates the little stage a little bit. Or I forgot who this was about, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I've had some people tell me, hey, listen, if you're playing against this guy, you better prepare for some earthquakes. Because they were, when they focused on their game, they would shake their leg really hard or shake
That
both
could've
legs
very
really
easily
hard.
been me.
We've
and
all
the, and the
got
whole
our stuff.
stage would just go,
Yeah.
and you just shake around because,
Yeah, like the nervous energy. Like I always
Right.
rock in my computer chair, and these things are a little stiffer. So it's like,
Right.
if you sit back, there's always the risk you might roll off the stage too.
that
so-
too, yeah, we've had that happen, I think, at least once.
Yeah, luckily nobody was hurt. So.
No disasters. But
Wow. So we have just a few minutes to finish talking about SGL. Do you guys have any final kind of things that you wanted to mention? or
There's
talk about here?
two things I want to mention.
Sure.
Or one thing. I'll save the other one for the things at the end. But as far as psyching opponents out, like you with the fake cover, I want to mention Airy because, as
Oh,
most
God.
people know, Airy is a pretty damn good pen spinner, right?
Yeah.
And the first day we came here, all the people that came here played a little casual race over in the tournament room. And I was sitting behind Airy, and I look over, and he just has one hand on the controller pumping up some stairs, and in the other hand he's pen spinning. And I'm like, if you're Airy's opponent and you see that, just casually playing on with one hand and doing like super complicated tricks with the pen in the other hand, you're like, all right, how could I possibly win this?
Yeah.
But the other thing you mentioning Airy, Airy hovers on the table.
Yes.
And I said something to him. I said, you get to be that guy? He said, I am totally that guy.
Of course.
So you just do what you got to do.
Right. I mean, you're there to win, right? That's why you play. And if it means you're going to shake the whole stage because you put your controller in the table and start hovering, then so be it.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention is I wanted to give another shout out to the STL admins because there was a on-site consolation tournament run for ALTTPR as well.
That big shout outs to Cynic right in the
Cynic,
audience
thank
here.
you.
He's the
Yeah.
one who thought that up.
Appreciate. So, yeah. Yeah, so in the consolation tournament, we know for sure we'll have Norsk Maddie versus either Homemade Beer or Mr. Aaron Snurd.
And it is
apparently
homemade
it is.
beer.
Oh, and it is Homemade Beer. Okay, so we
Okay.
can announce the winner. Congratulations
All right.
to Homemade Beer. Sinek just got out a fistful
No,
of
wait.
cash.
No, I think
There is still a race.
we have our finalists. Not,
We have our finalists.
Yes,
All
so
right.
we're down to top
Tuesday
two.
tip. Edit all of that out.
and this is why we don't do it live.
Yeah.
Right, that's what
Exactly.
happens.
Okay, so we have our two finalists there, which is awesome. Sinek is proudly displaying all of the prize money for
The
all
big
of us.
prize pool that's
I don't know if it's
happening.
reflecting in my glasses, but there's some cash in the air.
So I got here on Friday, which meant because I got here on Friday, it was too late for me to participate in the tournament. So having this opportunity to be able to play, even if it was just a couple games, was awesome. Because after watching so much on Friday, I was like, man, you know how it is when you watch ALTTPR. When you watch it enough, you want to play yourself. And so, got an opportunity to race.
Can't say I know how that feels.
And I am happy to be leaving this event. I practiced this. Let me see if I can do it. The SpeedGaming Live 2022 on-site ALTTPR Consolation Tournament semifinalist. Yes, thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Making it happen.
Yep.
All right, so I think it is time to open up for some questions.
This is where it goes off the rails.
This is where things
everything
might
goes
get-
to heck.
Might get weird.
Thank God.
So maybe we could start with. Do we have any questions? From the
I saw one in Twitch
Oh,
chat
you have
that
one
I
from
want to.
Let's start with one from Twitch
There was
chat.
it's scrolled.
And then
It's
we'll go to
scrolled
the
by.
audience,
Hang on,
so
let's
y'all
see.
can
Can I read?
brainstorm
Oh,
your
so
questions.
PH wanted to know how many tank tops I brought to the event. The answer was 8, and I didn't need 8, but I wasn't sure how many times I'd go to the gym just to try to decompress. So I brought 8 tank tops.
You're not joking.
I'm not.
He's not.
No, and like I brought like 7 or 8 T-shirts too. So I've had. If you've seen a brisket stream, you know there's been wardrobe changes when that happens. So we were wardrobe changing a bit. Plus, I wanted like comfy stuff to sleep in. So
I literally thought you were joking. That's so funny.
I know you can judge me. I see you judging me over there.
No, I love it. It's incredible. And you drove too. Which makes
I
it
was the
different.
same way. I think one of the first things Dante told me when I got here, I don't know, he was telling me yesterday or something, and it started with, yeah, and I was walking back from the gym. And I'm like, really, dude? You're here for like a couple of days and you just can't let it go for a couple of days?
I don't know if anybody here has been. I know one person has because I ran into him there. But as far as hotel gyms go, this is like A plus tier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
Okay.
because, like the dumbbells go up to 75. That's like, I mean, that's on par with Planet Fitness.
Okay.
So
Sure. I mean, and you also explained it to me, and I said, sure, okay, I can't be mad at you for that. So
Yeah, I support the pump. I think
well,
that's cool that you're
it
doing
helps
that.
with the mental damage.
Yeah, you did mention though that you will never you never do curls. On a day that
Don't
you do a
expose me
race.
like that. Yeah, I don't do
Oh, that's
bicep.
secret info?
Yeah, it just messes with the hover for some reason. It shouldn't, but it's at this point it's purely 1,000% mental. And I just if it's like a curl day, like it's arms, I'm just like, well, we're skipping curls because it's a small muscle.
I mean, that
anyway.
makes sense physically. That makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
I wouldn't know. I've never been to a gym in my life.
Let's see. Do we have any other chat questions?
We have Lumaga over
It
to the
seems
side.
Yeah, it's
active.
got,
Somebody seems like
Yeah, it's moving so fast I can't even read it.
yeah.
Hang on, let me get the mic up.
Oh yeah, we have to say them into the mic, otherwise no one
right.
will know what.
Hello,
Yeah.
Lumaga.
We do have a few questions here. Lucian Green asks, matchup of the tourney so far.
damn, that's a hard one.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed. I already mentioned.
That's a good suggestion.
We got a response to the crowd. Ack and Dante on comms. That's definitely
Andy versus Maniacal.
Yeah, that was
the late
like I
night
said.
one.
That race was good.
It was a
and,
good race. Yeah, I agree.
Which one?
versus Vex was pretty good too. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
If you go and see 1R, you had Fred versus Jam as another semis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We got
There
a
were
Z1R
some
recommendation for
Z1R
the
matches.
crowd.
They were very good. I mean,
Yeah.
really, all the tournaments had some pretty good matches as far as I can tell.
It's hard to watch them all too. Like
I mean, almost impossible.
especially now the play-in race was. There was one play-in race had 3 people, and they were all in the tournament room. It wasn't on a restream, and it was really,
That was really close. Yeah,
really hard to keep up with. But it was insane.
it was. That was a close one, definitely.
That was interesting because the idea of that was supposed to be everyone who was tied in their group that needed to break the tie. They would all race together to decide who would, make it into the brackets. And what ended up happening was there was one group with a 3-way tie, so they just had a play-in race together. So
Yeah,
that
it was
kinda
kind of
funny.
weird, but it is what it is,
All right,
and it
so-
worked out.
Yeah.
Since we had to talk about my personal tank top thing, I
Sure.
see a question in chat from Files that says, "How many cigarettes has Herfy smoked since he's been here?"
Boy,
Ooh, are you ready to count that number?
I mean, it's true. I mean, I couldn't count. Let's put it like this: I brought 2 bags of tobacco, and one of them was like maybe 75% full, and now I'm at the second bag, which is also about 75% full still. I would say, I don't know. I never count them. Maybe, that's too much probably. How long have I been here? Since Tuesday?
Tuesday evening.
I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 100 maybe.
Man,
Cool.
what a legend.
Cool.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell you.
You
to be
roll
honest.
every single one of those
I
yourself.
will tell you it's been significantly less than at home, because at home I can just smoke wherever I want, and here I need to go outside, which is just sometimes it's just not worth the hassle.
I feel like I should take this time to say smoking is bad. You shouldn't smoke. just throwing
Disagree.
that out there. But
Look how healthy
We
I
all
am.
have our vices.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all
No
right.
shade, but just from a health
Mine are tank
standpoint.
tops, and
Thanks,
We all
Mama
have
Tim.
our vices. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Maybe audience.
do we have any? Oh, okay. So Sinak
Synax
has
has
his
his
Cinec's
hand
got
up.
something.
Let's see if we can get a mic over to him.
All right, I have no questions. Only think dorms.
wow.
Thank you. I'll take
Okay.
those
So
and distribute them
Synac has
accordingly.
distributed some business cards that say "Link to the Past" randomizer on one side, and then they have the Think Dorm.
So
emote on
what
the
exactly?
other
This
side.
was from a game that was played at a GDQ,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Can you briefly tell us about that really fast?
Sure. So at AGDQ 2020, we did this. It's like a cross keys co-op race where we hacked Triforce tickets into the game. And when you got a Triforce ticket, we gave you some of these cards, right? And the different cards had like different effects. Some of them just had like rupees. You could collect those rupees and buy effects. Like some of them were like the Titan's mitts let you make another opponent like wear oven mitts.
Oh yeah, I
Or
was
the
a part
blue
of that.
potion, you put on
Yeah.
drunk goggles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those let you take over somebody else's game for like 30 seconds to a minute.
That was good.
So
Sabotage.
yeah,
Because I remember Christos ran me into Vitreous with this.
yeah. Oh, and he got it back like 10 times over on Ganon. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, these cards were available in the tournament in the tournament room. So I already got like 5 or 6 of these. Yeah. So I will add this to the collection. Thank you very much.
And I see another question here from Fear Agent in chat about tracking and how difficult it is and playing away from home. Honestly, like everything is just really awkward. Like if
Yeah.
you're used to having like the sanity check map tracker, or if you just fully rely on it, it's your responsibility to have one. So there's people with laptops set up to the side, and of course a little laptop screen may not be as big as your monitor like you have at home. If you whatever you're using. So and the chair is definitely it's very different. Screen heights, that I've mentioned on the podcast before, that bothers me a lot.
I know that Dunka started making a version of his tracker that specifically fit and worked on a cell phone just for the event, or maybe not just for the event, but definitely in preparation for the event. And he said he's been using it, and obviously it takes some getting used to, because if you have fat, grubby fingers like we have, you have to really zoom in on those things to hit the right thing on your phone. But other than that, it's been going pretty fine.
Yeah. We talked on the podcast a couple episodes leading up to this event about being prepared for a mobile setup, a setup that's different than what you have in your office. I definitely beefed it in a few ways. So the first was, I brought my work laptop and turned that into an ALTTPR machine on Saturday morning. And I noticed during the race that I neglected to turn off the pause while inactive.
Oh, wonderful. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
so that
a
was
fun
cool.
thing.
So I lost about a minute to that getting started out. And I also realized the earbuds that I had brought were the kind that plug into an iPhone, not a computer. So I was just listening to Spotify on my
So you were just trying to,
AirPods.
where's my lightning port?
Yeah,
Yep,
no
pretty
lightning
much.
ports. So
Didn't you also not bring your
I did
controller?
not. I ended up not bringing an extra monitor, and thank God, because there are so many monitors here.
True.
Every single person here could be on a monitor, and there'd still be an extra for me. I think.
True, yeah.
probably.
But you also borrowed a controller, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I forgot a controller
Yeah,
too.
you did
Forgot
bring a
my
controller. So,
yeah.
that seems kind of bad.
So that was that was a big
necessity
oopsie
for
moment.
playing.
But yeah, graciously, actually, there were some controllers that were on loan from GDQ. They had a label on the back that said GDQ. So they were. What was the name of that brand? It was like Vargas or something.
Something
like
like
that.
I've never seen them before.
V
I
something,
was
yeah.
going to ask you how they felt.
That's going to be the next iBuffalo, let me tell you.
They're okay. No, I tried to do icebreaker in my second race, and it took me about a minute because my normal dainty finger method, where you just quickly tap the, didn't work so well on these, new controllers.
Yeah, is that a controller problem or is it a user problem?
Controller problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem with me or my icebreaker skills.
Okay.
All right. Any more? Let's see. I believe John Snoo had his hand up.
All right,
First,
Mr. Snoo,
Snoo,
former
what you got?
podcast guest.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey.
This is more so directed towards Dante because me and you already talked about this at the bonfire literally last night.
Oh no, I don't remember much about that.
I know
bonfire.
you don't. I only remember this part, really, to be honest with you. With how we're doing commentary and everything else here for SGL Live and everything else, what are your thoughts about having face cams for comms
Yes.
for league races?
Yes, I would love there to be a new. I'm not going to call it a policy, but like an option. If with us using in SpeedGaming system now, when you are commentating a race or the ALTTPR League restreams, you're having like the Discord window popped out. Well, you could obviously have multiples, and I think it would be really beneficial to be able to have your webcam on. Like, it's not going to be on SG, it's not going to be on ALTTPR League, but that way you, your co-com, your tracker could see that if you wanted to opt into it, and it would, because let's be real, when we started using cams just for the recording, we stopped talking over each other a lot, and the conversations became a little more tangible.
It felt more natural to talk to each other just because you actually saw when someone was preparing to say something or had like a response to something you said or whatever. And it just makes it, like an actual conversation more so than just people being on a voice call together and kind of just weirdly waiting for someone to stop talking so they can get their stuff in, right?
Yeah. And there's absolutely precedent for that, right? And like, tons of sports commentary.
Yeah.
They'll show the game and then they'll show, the commentators in the booth for a second talking, So, yeah, that's. I think that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I do think that's a great question. That was something I thought about a while back, and I know, and John independently had thought about that.
Yeah.
I believe Carlson had a question too.
Carlson 32.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Carlson 32, everybody. I am a lower skilled player in the community, but this is my first time here, so if this is more of an ignorant question, apologies. But to try to grow the amount of people that are watching online but want to come next year, what advice would you give for them for maybe things like etiquette or what to expect when they show up? Because I'm sure that in one of these rooms I have broken some level of unspoken etiquette or something. So what would you do to encourage, or what advice would you give to make them more comfortable so that they do show up next year?
It's a great question.
As far as like being in the audience, a player, the participant, the biggest thing I just think is, okay, how would I want someone to behave if I'm on the restream racing? That's kind of how I act online most times. But yeah, that just how just do what I think would be what I want for me, and just return that courtesy back. Like a perfect example, I had no reason to feel guilty about it when I caused Drosy to flip off the camera, but it instantly felt so terrible. And I was like, God, we've distracted probably the race, the audience is distracted. And I was like, I honestly, like, it was one of the more embarrassing moments for me, and probably Drosy too. But yeah, I'd say just think about how you'd want to be treated in that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Do it that way.
Yeah, I would say in general, if you are on the fence and you're not sure, silence is usually better than talking or making noise.
Yeah.
As a spectator, as a person in a room while people are racing, I think also, to Dante's point, you don't know how easily distracted the runner is, and it could make sense to try to minimize the amount of movement around the room.
Yeah, like if you miss something, like where'd they get the flute? You don't want to be like, hey, did anybody see where the flute was? That's probably not the best way to do it. Maybe tap the person on next to you. Say, hey, did you see where that was? Nice and quiet, because that's not going to get through the headphones. You're not mic'd.
Yeah, and then beyond that, just less of etiquette things and more advice for people that want to come. I would say the really awesome thing about this is that you get to meet people who are in the community that you otherwise would never have an opportunity to see in person.
Yeah, I agree.
And try to maximize the time that you have here, and don't be afraid to strike up a conversation or tap somebody on the shoulder.
That's the hardest thing.
It really is.
I've literally been like trying to hang out with 80 people plus, it feels like, at one time, and it's near, it is impossible. Yeah. And it's kind of like I there's so many people I want to personally see, and there's people who want to see me too. That sounds cocky, I guess, I don't know. But like I want to see everybody. Like I
just want to meet the people that you've been, interacting with online for so long.
And especially after the 3-year break, like there's a lot of returning faces, and then 3 years, it's kind of like, man, it's really, I don't know, you could get kind of emotional a little bit almost. It's like, this is awesome. So
I agree. Yeah, and just to answer the question, I guess from a staff point of view or something, as an admin, I guess, who sat at the admin desk and stuff. First of all, I'd say don't worry too much about it. I don't think, I highly doubt you've broken some unspoken rule unless you started going crazy in the tournament room and yelling or dancing or something.
Yeah, doing jumping jacks
right,
or something.
Exactly. So I think it's
it's an excess. Sorry.
It's a lot more laid back than it may seem, and usually all the rules that need to be followed are very clear and posted somewhere. Like we had a big sign on the tournament room that said, "Hey, this is a quiet zone. Please, try to keep it down," and so on and so forth. And just hang out and enjoy. I think it's really more important to enjoy your time here and not, worry so much about who you might not get along with. It's maybe the wrong expression here, or what rule you might break or something like that. But rather try to engage with the people. And I was talking, I think it was Mr. Angry Pants earlier when we came in. I think it's so fun because you walk around somewhere, or I go out and have a smoke, nobody's there, and then someone will come out and strike up a random conversation.
Yeah.
And then you walk in, and then someone else joins in, and it's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, and you start a conversation with them. And it's just everywhere you go, there's conversations, and people you wanted to meet or people you've already met, and they're like, hey, what's up? What have you been doing? And it's, I would definitely recommend everyone to show up and have fun here.
Yeah, and Dante talked about, sometimes it's difficult when there's so many people that you want to see. For me, one of the challenges has been, and I think there's probably other people that maybe felt this way, a lot of us are like terminally online, we probably do spend a lot of time on our phones or our computers or whatever, so just being a little more extroverted, because I could be a little shy sometimes,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I had a conversation with someone. I basically they were introducing themselves to me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm that kind of guy that if I see people I think I know, I'm not going to just go insert myself into that conversation because I'm going to assume that their conversation's happening for a reason." That's always the way I read the room. So if there's an opportunity, sure, I'll say something, but otherwise, I'm just kind of tend to myself more often than not.
One more thing that I will say about this, and I'm not sure if Rick is still in here, and if he isn't, I'm sure he'll appreciate it anyway. But as far as rules go, do not ask about restream scheduling while the guy responsible for restream scheduling is doing commentary for a game. Do not wave him down and be like, "Hello, I have a request." Don't do that, okay? That's bullshit.
That makes sense. That is a very fair, yeah. Do we have a question from chat?
There's been a lot of questions from chat.
Some
good, some not. Ari asked if I could do a thumb around with pin spinning on the street. All right. Well, do you need this pin?
No.
Hey.
I'm getting there. I just can't catch it. So
seems pretty good.
that one's not as weighted as the one Ari
right. I know he has special pens. Oh, he's got one of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bring it up here. Bring it up here.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna do one, and it's gonna fall all to pieces.
Right, here we go. Dante's got.
All right, so this thing is like
pens.
gigantic. So this thing is huge. Oh, dude, we almost that was one and done try. We almost got it. Thank you, Ari.
Should show us how it's really done.
Oh yeah, Ari, come show us how it's done really fast.
So Ari's gonna show us how it's done real quick.
All right. This is mesmerizing to see in person because it's like some weird black magic thing. I'm sorry.
And now imagine this is happening while you're playing against him, and his other hand is on the controller, and he's pumping up some stairs.
Wow! Incredible.
Phenomenal.
Man of many talents.
People here have more talents than just randomizers.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And that's just one of probably like 1,000.
That's another fun thing about getting to meet everybody. Yeah.
Oh man.
We have a question?
Yeah. Quizbowl asked, would you recommend someone of a Challenge Cup level or skill level enter the on-site tournament, or would they be better served just to watch and play casual?
No, enter. If you're here. So go ahead, Herf.
I was just
that's like the podcast.
I mean, pretty much what Dante said. If you're here, enter. If you want to play, it doesn't matter if you lose all your matches, as long as you're having fun. Like if you're getting super frustrated with losses and you can't really deal with it very well, and it'll like suck out all the fun of the event for you, then maybe don't. But if you don't mind, having a couple losses and just having a good time, I was saying to someone yesterday, I believe, there's almost no better learning experience than a live event like this, because you're playing against someone, and even if you lose, you can immediately get up and walk over to them and be like, "Hey, so this seed, and what did you do here?" And and then you'll get so much information and helpful tips and whatever out of it immediately. and from so many different people because you're going to be playing a bunch of matches.
Yeah.
There's no better learning experience than this.
I'm gonna put some people on the spot.
Okay.
So
You do that.
a while back, I was talking to Mr. Angry Pants, and he was like, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go, but I don't know if I'm gonna enter." And I was like, "You should enter, just for the experience. Like, it doesn't cost you any. If you're going, you're paying all the thing anyway." And it was the day the groups came out. I got a message that just said, "Join the live tournament." He says, "It'll be fun." He says, he didn't say how badly I'm gonna get murdered, and. That group was Mr. Angry Pants, Homemade Beer, North K, Maddie, Flip Hill, and Andy. So there's a lot of runners in there to, have a good time doing races with. And that's like, I think I could speak for Mr. Angry Pants saying he had a good time doing all those races. I'm getting a nod in the about said in the chat, but that's the audience. Lumaga was somebody else I remember saying like, just, yeah, I hope you're entering. And eventually he said, yeah. So, and I think sitting over at the desk, yeah, he's smiling. He had a good time. So it's totally worth it.
Good. Yeah, so I didn't participate this time. It was a little more to do with my travel plans than not wanting to, go up against the people who were in the tournament. I will say, one thing that Dante has said a lot of times is like, anytime you enter any tournament, you should expect that you could win that tournament. That's something where we disagree a little bit. I don't go into tournaments expecting to win them. I feel
not expecting to win, expecting to have an opportunity.
What the hell does that mean?
Like if you go in and say I am going to lose, I guarantee you 1,000% you will lose. But you may win one or two races that you weren't like picked to win.
Yeah.
If you just have a reasonable level of confidence.
Yeah.
Not a cocky level of confidence.
Yeah. Well, Rando's weird because you can't affect your opponent really in any way, except maybe
you shake the table.
Yeah, these live events, maybe you can a little bit.
Flip the table.
Yeah. Anyway, but to get back to the question, I'm glad that I participated the first year that I did, and I would definitely recommend to anyone to do so, even if you aren't. You don't think you're at the skill level as everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about like learning a lot on our podcast, and I'm seeing Jim in chat say something that they were able to teach a newer player about bonk Houlihan setting up, because there was a couple races where you had to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got about 8 minutes left, and I think a couple more questions.
Oh,
hi.
Just got a question for you. Since you've been here, apart from LGTPR, what have you guys, enjoyed other tournament-wise and event-wise overall?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent a whole bunch of shifts at the admin desk where I generated seats for all the randomizers that were here. I think the only game that wasn't a randomizer was the MMX tournament, if I remember correctly. So I've been generating seats for all kinds of things. And some of y'all have the craziest randomizer sites I've ever seen in my life. The stuff that you can select for the Final Fantasy 1 randomizer blows my mind. There's so many options that make no sense to me as someone who doesn't really know too much about Final Fantasy 1. And, all the other randomizers as well. But I've learned a couple interesting facts about each randomizer, which I think is fine. I've told the story like 2 or 3 times now about the Wind Waker randomizer and how the randomized file is like half the size or even less than the actual game file, because on the game disk, the whole credit sequence is just one massive 700 megabyte video file that the randomizer just cuts out, because who wants to watch the credits anyway?
Yeah.
So instead of being like 1.3 gigs, it's like 450 megabytes. And I've enjoyed, learning a bit about the other randomizers and maybe catching some of those games. Earlier, when I was watching the Illus versus Azaza's semifinals match, the streaming station right next to us had the semifinals, I believe it was, between Sir Linkalot and Mr. Fizzlepants, I believe is his name. Lord Fizzlebeef, that's what it was. And that was interesting to kind of peek over there and see how it's going, and have them kind of witness them both talking to each other after each seat, because they're playing best of threes, and they played their first game last night. So yeah, I think learning about some of the other randomizers and other games that are here was pretty fun for me personally.
Yeah, the two things that stuck out to me was when I was sitting in the tournament room, someone sat down beside me and started playing Wind Waker randomizer, and I'm like, Jesus, there's so much effort into these custom sprites because it's like a full with model instead of like a sprite.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of cool to see stuff like that, just peering in from the outside. And obviously this is kind of a cop-out answer, but watching some of these Super Metroid only randomizer races, with doing area rando and other settings that I'd probably get really lost in as a semi-casual Super Metroid player. It's kind of cool seeing those races and how they're played at such a high level.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll say this is not other games that are being offered from SGL as tournaments, but another really fun aspect of a live event like this is going back to the hotel room later on and playing some Star Fox 64 with your friends, some Melee, some Tetris Attack, which Xylo and I have gotten a lot of games in of. It's just fun being with other people who are gamers.
Cool.
All right, I think we have time for a couple more.
All right. So this is homemade beer.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm piggybacking off of Fear Agent asking 16 times in chat about the food, but Drossi specifically had a question, so I'm going to allow him to actually ask.
Okay.
Yes. So I was wondering what your opinions on picanha were.
Oh, okay. So what is the best thing I ate this weekend? I did see Fierce say that. The best thing I ate this weekend, if it's something that I know I can never get again, or for a long time, is Coffee Crisp, because Phileon brought down a huge box of that and was handing those out to people.
Fair enough.
Shout outs to candy we can't have here.
Yep.
Picanha, there's been a lot of groups that have gone to Texas de Brazil and Fogo de Chao in the areas. I was at Fogo last night, had a great time, had a lot of great food. If I'd have eaten dessert, I would have earned myself the meat gobbler title.
But Files
got that because Files ate a full thing of dessert. So
Files finished the whole thing off with a cheesecake, which is insane.
Holy. Wow.
But he managed to get it down, no problem. He wasn't even sweating.
Thick and rich.
Now, picanha, though, specifically, probably when I go to Brazilian Steakhouse, that is what I got excited about. First time I went, everything was good. Someone said, wait till you have the picanha. And I'm like, what's so great about it? And I ate it. And I'm like, it's pretty great.
Yep.
So, and there's if you're in the SGL Discord, there is a picture, I believe, of Drossi with the largest smile as the picanha is being passed to him. So
definitely. Yeah, I think as far as at least us two are concerned, we can give a big thumbs up on the picanha.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I'll shout out the Touchdown Deli, which is a short walk away.
Oh, yeah,
very,
absolutely.
very affordable. Huge menu. Definitely like a locally owned, little restaurant. And I think the best part about it is that it's about a half a mile away, so you're forced to walk there and back. And after eating the food there, you'll be thankful for the opportunity to walk it off.
Yeah, we went there, I think, Friday. Thursday. The days are bleeding together for me, Drossi.
I imagine. Yeah.
So it was Thursday, and Vextifer was with us in that group, and me and him were talking right before we got there. We were like, "Man, this place is kind of all by itself. I wonder if this place is any good." And then I said, well, this guy who just got out of his car is walking in with a business suit on, so he must know what's up. And Vex just made the comment, he may just be like a used car salesman or something. I said, he's got a nice Mercedes right there, so he knows what's up. And he was right. We were right. That place was spot on.
He was a new car salesman.
Yeah, he was a new car salesman.
Nice. Cool. Okay, well, I think that's it for the questions. And that's going to be it for the episode, but I do have a few people that I wanted to make sure that we said thanks to for making this whole thing possible. T Sigma for helping us get this event set up and all the equipment set up. Adirondack Rick and Fiesel for giving us this opportunity to be in this room and use all this equipment. Lumaga and Xylo for helping us with the stream specifically. Huge shout outs. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. Drunk Future Self as well, DFS. For giving us a little bit of equipment there last minute that we needed. Our Patreon supporters, huge thank you to all of you. I've met several of you this weekend. It's been a pleasure. And the entire SGL 2022 staff, which I guess includes you guys. And thanks to you.
And honestly, thanks for coming in here.
Yeah,
when we talked about this,
the whole audience here.
I was like, we're going to have 2 people coming.
We had our doubts for sure. We talked about it on the show of should we even do this? And I said, if we can get even 10 people to show up, I think it would be a fun time. And we've
So thank you
there's
guys.
a little bit more
It's a
than
good
that.
time.
And then
Thank
there's
you
other
guys.
people, so I think
And I do have one more shout out, and I see that she's here right over there. I do want to shout out Aries' wife, Niana. Thank you so much for sharing your medicine with me earlier, because I've managed to catch a cold. Maybe you can hear it a little bit, and she graciously shared her medicine, her cold medicine with me, and it's helping.
Awesome.
Big thumbs up.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that is going to do it for us. So,
Yep.
Twitch.tv/tip underscore.
Yep, that's me on Twitch.
Twitch.tv/DAAANTY
and then Herfy's twitch.tv/HerfyDurfy.
That's me.
You might be watching this at twitch.tv/GoModePodcast, but if you're not, that's our Twitch. We're also on YouTube. Just search it.
I mean, they might be watching on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, you could be watching this on YouTube because it is going to be exported in the next day or so.
I would love to do this another hour, but there's other things that are on the schedule for probably here and for us
Escape
personally.
rooms and races and all that.
All kinds of stuff going on.
And if you are listening to this in podcast form, we will be back in exactly 1 week with a little bit more STL recap. We'll talk about the final games and then how we're feeling after finally getting back home after the event. So, but that's going to do it for us. Thank you all so much for coming out and attending.
Thank you, guys.
That's it for us. Time to mirror out. Good job, gentlemen.